So what can you tell me about the deal, my friend?
Yeah, I got this lead yesterday. The seller, they are looking for 14 million on this property, and it's a big retail plaza, about 45,000 square feet. I think 18 to 20 units on it. And they sent me the financials. So I did it myself just to see where I would be at. I'm not perfect at underwriting, so I wanted to get your opinion to see where you would be at on this property and just get your opinion on it.
Okay, let's do it. So, I mean, it looks like a interesting looking center, big center. They bought it in 2005 for 6.5 million. They have debt on it for 5.5 million. Tax assessed value is 5.7. 45,000 feet. Let's take a quick gander. I'm on Reonomy right now. What I'm doing, by the way, on Reonomy is that again, we're checking the most recent sale date, most recent refi, the tax assessment value, and then I'm going to search that area and I want to see real quick. I'll even share my screen real fast. Share. Let's do this page. Share. So what I did, I just the properties I believe right here, and I just zoomed out real quick. And then of these properties, I want to just quickly sort. I want to go by sales within the last 12 months, and I want to see what's sold. And I want to see for how much. So about 100 a foot. This one here is a school. I don't know if I could, like, that's not really going to be a great comp. I wanted to see something like this, right? What is this? Is this the whole freaking, what is this? So whatever this is, I mean, I don't know if I believe that this just actually traded for 41 million. I think this traded for 4.16 million. Let's see here. That's kind of wild. Very interesting. What is this? Satellite Boulevard? Okay, this building right here sold for $41 million. That's absolutely insanity. I don't know if I believe that, to be honest. Because like this, I make sense of. Like here you go. 177,000 feet. Let's check this one out, which I believe is probably this whole or a big part of this shopping center because it's saying that let's see what this is. Interesting. They like some of these people in
Hey
here.
Henry, so the county just bought the mall, so I'm
That
not
makes
sure if that's a part of the purchase, of reason why it's 41 million, but
Well, yeah, there's the 41.6. This building was 41.6. So it looks like they bought that building and a few other parts of the mall. That all makes sense. Okay, there's not a lot of good comps here. I got to zoom out maybe a little bit further. Self-storage. Let's try to find within the last 2 years, property type. Let's go to retail, stores and shopping centers. Apply. Because I'm trying to find price per square foots real quick. You know, like the only thing I have right now is like this piece here, which is like 100 and change a foot, which is probably, I mean, it doesn't add up to everything else. This one here is almost 300 a foot. And then this one here, 18.65 million. I mean, this is a big piece, even though it looks like the Kroger is owned by somebody else, which is kind of funny. So they just bought everything else. Looks like they bought that parcel and that parcel too. So 45,000 feet, they bought it for 18.5 million. So I mean, look, dude, the 300 a foot's actually is possible. I mean, this buyer right here, the person who just bought this parcel, might be a good buyer for your deal, right? So I would probably call this person up here, right? Whoever this is, give this person a call. Anyways, while we're looking. So, anyways, now that we have an understanding of the deal, let's look a little bit more into your underwriting. Let's try to get an understanding now that I understand what's going on with the deal. So tell me about what you plugged in and why.
so for the due diligence, the closing costs, I think I did about 4%.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That looks about right.
yeah, I'm not 100% on that, but
Sure.
what I did first was I put in the income details with the leases, and I'm not 100% on the pro forma. I just looked at the rent roll and then plugged everything in and saw actually went on CoStar and saw what everything was renting for, and it was about $20 a square foot or more.
Just keep in mind that like if you ever have situations like this, guys, where like this guy's leased till 2029. I mean, right now the system's not going to add anything. Like the quarter to market is not adding anything. You know what I mean? Like so just keep in mind like these performa, you don't need these unless you're putting this here. Nothing changes. You can stay off mute, by the way. But I'm just saying like anytime you plug in a performa number, okay? If you do not add when it actually occurs, this number is an irrelevant input. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, so what I did was I saw that there was no real change when it comes to pro formas in those the price per square foot on the pro forma. So I just added the ones like the 4 and the 12 when I saw there was a change. So I was
Well,
just
I'm saying there isn't a change. What do you mean? There's not a
oh,
change.
okay.
You got 25 a foot, and this guy's paying like I mean, he's paying 24.72. It's almost the same exact thing. Plus 3% increases in 1 year, he's going to get there. Because you can actually see, look, ready? 2509 in quarter three, and then all of a sudden it goes backwards to, you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't
Mm.
make any sense. What I'm saying here is like what you want to care about is like these, the one that ends this year. This
Okay.
ends this year. This ends this year. This ends this year, right? I mean, this one doesn't even have an end date. This is next year, right? This is next year, next year. So what I would be looking at is saying like, okay, right, like this is saying this goes to July 26th. So you can't do quarter four. You can do quarter probably seven, maybe six if you're, try to be exact. I mean, obviously this is obviously a pretty sizable bump, right? So maybe you're not going to get that. Maybe you get 22 here, right? Maybe you get 20. You understand what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
all these 26s, so like this is exactly a year from now, so you can say quarter four. And then obviously, like you can look at this number, right, versus this number, there's a difference, right? Like, okay, got it. That delta, that means we need to have an increase, right? That's what that's for. 2026, like this one's right now paying 37.72. You think that's actually about par. Okay, fine. Right, like then don't touch it, right? But there's no reason, like there's no, you know what I'm saying. So like, I would try to be playing around with like a lot of these here and just figuring out to make sure that like when they are extended, they're bumped up to market if necessary, and if they're not necessary, you don't need to do anything here. Okay, so that's one. You have a 10% vacancy, which is probably a little high, unless you have a major vacancy now, which I don't see.
Okay. And then yeah, that's pretty much all I did for the
Okay.
income.
Okay, got it.
And I just plugged in everything that they had for the expenses.
Got it. Okay, so clearly there's going to be more here. I mean, I know you don't get snow, but you're going to have. Let's go back to this building for a second. Over here. I mean, you're gonna have some landscaping. It's not going to be zero, right? Like there's clearly grass here and trees, right? So you're obviously going to have
Right.
some landscaping budget. So, okay, so landscaping budget's probably going to be at least something like, maybe 1,000 bucks. I mean, that's a lot, right? Like you're probably going to be 1,000 bucks a month. Do you
Okay.
know if this is triple net or not, most of the leases?
I'm not 100% sure.
To me, that was one. Now, if we don't know if they're gross rents or not, that's also going to change your income drastically, right? Like, because if it's triple net, they'd be paying off maybe 200 plus thousand of this number. You know what I'm saying? So your income would be better. Hence, that's why they were also, they're asking for 14. I know you put eight. We'll change that later, but they're asking for 14. Anyways, we'll play around with this in a minute. But the reason why this deal doesn't make any sense at all near 14 million is because, excuse me, there's the income is all. This is acting as if they're all gross rents. So you need to make sure you double check because that'll screw up your underwriting and you're going to sound silly when you present an offer of 8 million when it's probably easily worth 10 or 11 or 12. Anyways, that's just one thing I'm thinking about real quick. Trash. I don't know how it's only literally 4,800 bucks. It's actually kind of surprising. Leasing fees, you're gonna have some. I mean, like, anytime there's a turnover, you're gonna have leasing fees. So like I'd probably look at something like 15 G's minimum a year. You're probably paying it now. Everything else looks okay. I mean, you're probably going to have some marketing, 500 bucks a month on a shopping center this size, probably. Payroll of 25 grand. I'm guessing that's on-site management. To be honest, that's probably something that you can just blend with, the accounting, admin fees, and everything else. Your repairs and maintenance budget, honest to God, seems very light. I'd probably do 30,000 minimum. But okay, that's fine. Long story short, let's look at this deal. So like right now you're generating every year 1 million bucks in gross income. Your expenses are estimated around 300,000, which by the way, dude, is only 30%. That's not like it's an astronomical number, right? Like that gives you a net operating income of 700 grand a year and they want 14 million. What is that? Like immediately in my head that goes, they want a what cap rate?
That's about
It's almost exactly a what? They want 14 and it's making 700 grand a year.
7.
Five cap.
Yeah,
Five
that's what
cap.
they're asking.
Yeah, yeah. So it makes sense. They're asking for a five cap. That's what they're asking. They're asking 14 million, right? They're saying like immediately in my mind when I'm looking at this deal, guys, right? The first thing I'm thinking about is like, oh, this guy wants a five cap, like which is just absolutely freaking ridiculous, right? Like, when you hear somebody who wants a five cap of this type of asset class, I mean, look, I mean, it is obviously in a great location. I'm not arguing that whatsoever, but to get a five cap and a nearly $300 square foot number is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like we're going massively up from here. Okay. I mean, I would also, again, I would look at CoStar and what lease comps are actually, are they triple net or not? Because that changes this deal a lot, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Because right now, if they're gross rents, Okay, if these are all gross rents, guys, and again, you had this as 8 million bucks before, and let's change this back to 70. Yeah, this deal makes a lot more sense, right? Like your equity multiple is fantastic, your stabilized yield is great, your price per square foot in this market is wonderful. This is a deal all day long. I like it a lot, right? Like day one cap rates an 8.68. Come on now. I mean, like this for this kind of Class A asset, I'm pretty happy with that. What anywhere near where they were is probably impossible to get to. So
So you're saying,
I like your 8 million.
so you said if it was triple net, it would make more sense, that number.
Oh yeah, 100%. Watch. Like I'm sorry, I'm pulling up CoStar on my phone real fast. So CoStar says that the lease rates on this deal were 16 to 18 triple net in 2009. Let's look at okay, I was just curious if there was anything on that deal because sometimes they have updated numbers. All right, ready? I'm going to look around here. I'm going to go to lease comps, retail, sign date last 12 months. 18 leases have been signed in the last 12 months, just like right around that local market. 35 bucks Oh my God, 50. Okay, that's way too small of space. 5,000 square feet. What is this? 44 and a half bucks net. Holy cow. What a lease rate. All right, that's office. Hold on. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. 20 to 25. Hold on. Let's see if I can find one that's this one's 28 bucks triple net. They might be under market. Okay, hold on. This one's 18 triple net. 18 triple net. Okay, fair, fair. I mean, there's just a couple that are like crazy. This one got signed at 29 triple net. So like, okay, so what I'm seeing here is the following, okay? And this last one here is $20 triple net essentially. What I'm seeing in this deal is that just to be clear, they're getting these numbers triple net. Like you could probably average these all out. Right now this is a gross number. So anything that's because look, right now your expenses, we're going to do a quick equals this number divided by you said how big is the center? 49
45,000.
divided by 45,000. Oh my freaking Lord. All right, fine. 300,000. What's going on here? Equals 300 grand. Sometimes it just doesn't do it right. I don't understand why it makes it so complicated. $6.67 a foot. Okay. We're rounding a little bit. All right. And put a dollar sign. Okay. $6.67, $6.67 a foot for expenses. Now, I'm obviously not going to add back 100%, even if it's triple net. Like, there's just going to be some things they're not going to pay for, but they're going to pay for taxes, insurance, common area maintenance, all the other BS. So let's just call this number let's say $5. What happens here is we go to income, and you want it to be like 18 net. So anything below where you can add $5. So basically $23 minimum, absolute minimum. 18 is like aggressively simple. And that's for smaller spaces like 1,700 feet, you should be getting 22, 20, right? So this little space can probably get 25, which this is in 2029. So we'll say in quarter, let's say 18, right? So that's 4 years. Yeah, that makes sense. A quarter, let's say, I'll even say quarter 17. 25, that's like in 3 quarters from now, or I'll say two. So $25 gross. We can probably, let's see, they're at 87. We can get them to probably pay the same exact thing. So what we'll do is that we'll leave it 25, 26, so 23. Here you go. Another small space, 1,000 square feet. This one can probably be $25 all day long. Is everyone understanding like how I'm coming up with these numbers? Like the smaller spaces are coming up with like a much higher triple net numbers. The much larger spaces, this was like 4,000. So that can probably be if they're already paying basically $25 or $20 triple net. But these smaller spaces where like you can increase the rents, we're going to make sure we do so. That's in 2027, which is basically 2 years from today. So call it 9 quarters. So it's a one quarter plus the 2 years.
Henry, I have a question.
Go for it.
Are you assuming, based on what the market rents are at a triple net price, that these are most likely triple nets?
It seems like it. It
Okay.
definitely seems like it. Yeah. And like, look, I can't like until we've confirmed it. It's like I would trust but verify. Like I don't care what they say to me verbally. I want to see proof. Like tell me that these are actually triple net leases. So I can't assume these are triple nets, but what I can assume is my pro forma will be. Right.
Got it.
So my pro forma numbers here, like this one here, this ends in 2025. It's literally like 2 months away. 1,200 square feet. They're paying right now roughly 27 gross right here, right? So I mean, that's basically market. There's nothing I'm going to change here. You're already at that market number. I'm just looking for the pockets of like, property, tenancy that I think we can jump. Like these few here, I think I can jump. It's only 2,000 feet or so or smaller. Those should be 25s. Right, so we can do a 25 here and a 25 here, which means 20 triple net basically. This one here ends in middle of 2026, so we're going to do 5 quarters. This one here above it is 2029 April, so that's exactly 4 years from now. So we're going to do 17 quarters. Again, I'm adding 1 quarter to how long it's going to take. So if it's in 4 years from today, it's not 16 quarters, it's 17. I'm adding 1 quarter, just giving myself some room. This one here ends in 2027, 900 square feet. They're getting 24. It's bumping up to 25. It's not going to do anything. By that time, it's going to be, above market anyways. See, like this one here, they're already getting 11. I mean, they're basically getting $25 or more. I mean, they're getting over 25. So like, I don't really need to touch that. This one here, 4,000 square feet. They're also getting 20, let's say 17 triple net. So we can probably bump this to 23. I mean, it's probably going to be there because it's in 2029. So like, it's not going to matter too much. And because it's increasing at 3% a year on my sheet. I would also, by the way, double check, Aaron, or anybody who's looking at shopping centers, ask them what their annual increases are. Because if they're only bumping up, let's say 10% every 5 years, that's a problem. If there's no bumps, that's a problem. Again, you're assuming it's 3% increases a year until you have confirmation. I would do probably 1% a year just to be safe. Anyways, let's go over here now. So if we go to summary, watch the difference now. All right, guys. So now that we've done all the numbers and like we're assuming that the leases are gross, watch what happens now if we go back and we add back and we actually confirm. Let's say Aaron confirms that they are all triple net leases. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to have to add back a column. Yes, we're going to do that. And this will be reimbursements. So reimburse. Okay. So what this will be here is this will equal, right? This will equal basically $5. So 5 times, okay, $5 times the price per square foot. So that's going to give us this total. Okay, but hold on. This is annualized. Okay, so we have to take this and bracket it. Add the parentheses. Now we're going to divide by 12. We're going to get this added addition per month. And then we're going to take this and add plus sign this number. So now what we're going to do is that we're going to drag this down. Okay, so we just want to make sure that all added. That did. And then now we're going to drag this down. There you go. So now we added back all the expenses. Everyone understanding how we did that? Basically, we calculated on the expense sheet right here. We calculated that we have roughly $300,000 worth of expenses. We then take this number, which is basically 300 grand in expenses divided by the square footage. So we get the average expense per square foot. For whatever reason, it won't let me just click this box. Let me try it again for you guys. Equals this box divided by 45,000. Okay, there you go. It worked this time. So 686. I'm rounding down only because like sometimes that even triple net leases don't include management, right? They don't include a vacancy rate. They don't include the stuff, right? Like, so that's why I only added back $5. So I'm being a little bit conservative there. Here under reimbursements, we added back $5. So you see 5 times the square footage divided by 12. And now obviously we're just adding this number. Now watch how much the deal changes. This is what's crazy. And by the way, I'm still going to keep it at 1%. Okay, 1% increases. Let's say we haven't confirmed that yet. Now you see that the numbers jumped about 10%, which is wonderful because that means we can probably even pay. I mean, look, our cap rate's 11 today, right? So we could probably pay again, now we're going to go to $9.5 million. Still not a horrible deal for somebody, right? So anyways, we just added $1.5 million worth of equity immediately. And by the way, based on his number, Aaron, right, of $14 million, let's go back to 14. He's asking for a 6.5 cap instead.
Okay.
Versus a 5, right? I'm saying if we find out that this number actually is what it is. By the way, this has to be 300,000.
And it still won't make sense at 14, right?
No. I'm not saying I would pay. I mean, look, you can see your IRR is not even 1.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and by the way, the quickest numbers you guys can calculate, which is if you're looking at these spreadsheets, which Aaron, again, he plugged in his own numbers. This is his spreadsheet. So that's the reason why we're not sharing it. But you can see here the implied value after he plugged in all of his numbers, the implied value at a 7 cap, which even if he went to a 6.5 because it's a nice area, you're saying the implied value, future value in 5 years, 20 quarters, okay, at a 6.5 cap sales price is less than the guy wants now. It's like this number, 13.9. Obviously, this deal's not selling for 14 million, unless, by the way, we always have to be open. Maybe we did something wrong, which is why I always like to double check and be like, okay, is it actually triple net, Aaron? Is it actually, this type of price per square foot market? Like, again, I didn't even notice this one. This one here is going to get bumped up to 25. Abso-freaking-lutely. And that's that already ended, right? This one already ended. So, we're going to say that in quarter 1. Let's say this one, 18. We don't know about this one.
Again, maybe make assumptions that I don't know. I'm not saying you make assumptions, but maybe this one's already over. Who knows? I don't know. You have to confirm that, but that one obviously could be a different one. But those are the only two that are very, very low, obviously. And then, based on these numbers, you can also try to bump up everybody to 25 a foot gross, which would be 20 triple net, or you can add in 20 triple net plus the 5. It's the same exact thing. But long story short, though, I'm still probably in and around the 9 million range. 9 go to 70 LTV. Yeah, I mean that's a stellar, 10 cap deal. I mean, if it's actually triple net, but you got to confirm that.
Appreciate it.
I like your $8 million number though. Great job.
Thank
The
you.
only thing I'm telling you, you definitely need to confirm. I would never make an offer on a shopping center of this magnitude without reconfirming that it is triple net leases or not, because that'll change your deal drastically.